it's Talia, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make my chamchi kimbap. This week I brought this to work for lunch, and it's actually really simple. These are the ingredients I had at my availability. Although usually I have other ingredients that I'll put in it too. I think anybody could make this, but this is not a tutorial, it's just simply how I make my kimbap. So here you're just going to see me pouring some olive oil into this pan that I'm going to be using to cook my veggies. Over there I'm making my rice. I actually had a rice cooker that kind of broke my sophomore year of college, so ever since I've been stuck with using pots and pans, and we don't have one at home, so that's why I'm doing that over there. Right now I'm just, taking my fresh spinach and getting it to be a little soft. I wasn't expecting the oil to be popping like this, that's why I'm standing so far away. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, so that's why I'm not in the frame right now. I'm kind of just like throwing it from afar, but there's definitely probably a better way to do this. Maybe dry your spinach a little more before you put it in the pan, but I was kind of in a rush because I had to go to work. So yeah, that's all I'm doing here. So at this point I was just checking on my rice and it was pretty much done. You want it to be a little bit sticky but not like sticky rice, so I turned off the heat and I'm just gonna let it sit over on the side and cool itself down a little bit, and just not touch that for a little while. And then once I was done with my spinach, I was just gonna season my rice with a little bit of salt and sesame oil just to give it a little bit of fragrance. Okay, so at this point I'm just going to be cutting my carrots and my pickled radish. As you'll see, I'm very weak and could not cut through this carrot even with such a big knife, so I enlisted the help of my dad, who happened to be making something else in the kitchen at the same time. So yeah, I kind of had him do most of the hard work, but I cut them into smaller pieces afterwards, as you'll see. Whoops. So the thing to keep in mind about your selected vegetables is that you want them to be skinny enough to fit in your rolls without being too fat or making the roll like too fat. So that's why you want to keep them pretty skinny, and so I'll be doing the same thing with the radish. And the radish kind of smells bad, like, I mean, it's vinegar, so what do you expect? But it tastes delicious and it gives your kimbap like a nice bit of texture, so I highly recommend including it in your kimbap. Usually I also use burdock root, but I couldn't find it at the international market when I was there, so I had to do without. So I think I had 9 laver sheets, so that's why I'm just counting all of my radish to make sure I have enough strips. And then I'm going to be arranging all my vegetables on a plate, which you'll see later, just to keep them in order and make it easier for my rolling station. So next, in the same pan I was using earlier, I'm just going to soften my carrot a little bit so it's not too hard in the wraps. And then I'm going to make my meat filling. So some people use imitation crab. I was using actual canned crab with spices and then tuna, hence chamchi kimbap. And then this is Kewpie mayonnaise, which is the only mayonnaise I will eat because all of the rest of it is gross. And I'm just mixing it up into like a thick type sauce, which actually looks really disgusting, but I promise it tastes good. And you're just going to be using that as part of your filling to give the kimbap some flavor. So next I'm just going to be cracking 3 eggs and whisking them up with some fish sauce, which also smells pretty bad but tastes good. And yeah, just make sure to wash your hands when you're touching eggs, guys. I know that's common sense, but please, please, for our safety. So after that, I'm done washing my hands. I'm just going to add the fish sauce and then whisk it up with a fork because I didn't feel like pulling out an actual whisk just to do a couple of eggs. So this is my lazy version of whisking. For some reason I didn't record me frying the egg, but it's common sense. I just fried the egg into a flat omelet-like shape, and then that is the setup that I had for all of the rolling station. As you can see, I had to end up moving things around because I wanted the tatami mat to be closer to the rice so I didn't spill rice everywhere. So this is more, I guess, of the tutorial part on how to actually wrap the kimbap. So I have my labor sheet on my tatami mat, and then I'm using a rice spreader to evenly spread the rice around the seaweed. I don't take mine all the way to the edges because I kind of feel like the end pieces never stay together anyway, so I end up throwing those away. But yeah, so I'm just making sure everything's in an even square. Then I'm gonna take a strip of the carrot and then a strip of the radish underneath it. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna take some of the spinach and place that beneath the rest of those. So that's all of your vegetables kind of lined up in the center. I forgot to mention with the rice, you want to make sure you stay away from the top 10% of the sheet just so you can wrap everything and have it covered. Now I'm taking that egg that I had made in the omelet, a strip of it, and just putting it on top of the seaweed. And then here is the meat mixture that's going on top of the carrot. I promise this has a method. This is how I do it all the time. So now you're just going to take your mat and then you're going to make sure you cover all of the filling with the seaweed in your first roll. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to make sure I have everything covered, and then you're just going to press it as hard as you can into that circular shape and try to make sure it holds its form. Once you've got that done, you're going to roll over that last little bit that you left at the top of the seaweed, and then once you roll it back, you should have a nicely formed kimbap. So yep, so now I have this. It's rolled up, it's pretty secure. So I'm gonna grab a plate and then I'm just gonna cut up the kimbap. I don't know what I'm doing, just walking around aimlessly, but as you can see here, these end pieces do not have any type of structural integrity. They will fall apart unless you, I guess, really stuff your kimbap roll. I don't really do that ever, so I'm just gonna get rid of this piece or just eat it, but it doesn't look cute at all. And then I'm gonna cut the kimbap roll into bite-sized pieces. Some people just bite into it like this because they kind of compare it to a sandwich more so than sushi. I like mine in bite-sized pieces, so that's why I do it like this. And then I serve mine warm. So after I cut it, it is all ready to go. And I think I'm just going to show you the cross section a little bit. Yep, and that's all you have to do. So now you are done, and this is what the final product looks like. Thanks for watching.